Hey everybody, it's Jordi here. I'm at Bronx Community College and I'm about to give a talk to a group of photography students to talk to them about a concept I call the art of the business of photography. It's probably one of my favorite things to do because I think right now, 2023 is the best time to be a photographer. And this is like going back to the roots for me for where it all began. I wasn't fortunate enough to be a photography student, but I'm gonna talk to the photography students and hopefully I could inspire one person about, how they could be a full-time photographer themselves if that's what they want to do. So come. First and foremost, everybody, thank you so much for being out here on a Saturday. You know, it's warm, you could have been anywhere else, but you're here in an intimate classroom, hearing about photography, and it tells me a lot about you, and I want to start based on that first. So I like to be interactive. Yenny told me I only got 20 minutes, so I'll try to condense everything, because I like to talk. I'm gonna do a few things. One, I'm gonna share a little bit about my story. Two, I'm gonna tell you guys about some of the work I have going on right now, some of the cool projects, and then I'm gonna make an offer to you guys about a 5-day marketing challenge that I have coming up. It is something that is paid. I do a free seminar as well too, but at the end of this, you determine if it's worth it to even be interested at all, okay? So real quick, Yenny, we could go to the next one. So I'm gonna start from the early years, right? So the early years, the reason I call this the art of the business of photography is a few things, right? Photography is, just like many other art forms, is one of the few things that is now accessible to us, 10, 20 years ago, it was a film camera. It was in the hands of a select few people. And it was something that wasn't really, hey, like we could pick up a camera and actually turn a profit from it. So I've been in the business for nearly a decade now. I'm an immigrant from Jamaica. Any immigrants in here? Right, like we have 1, 2, all right? Right, like all of us are immigrants, so we have something that we relate to. And this was me, like I was there with some of my friends. This was like my early days in learning a little bit of Photoshop, cutting people out in the background, adding a little Superman icon and using this app called PixArt. That's where things got started for me. And that, for me, was my early start in photography, just capturing things that I liked, right? Let's go to the next slide. Now, after that, 2014 comes, I get an internship at the Museum of Jewish Heritage, and they gave an internship where you get to be in 6 departments. So I was in visitor services, I was in the sales department, I was in the education department, calling donors, asking them for money, like, hey, my name is Jordi, I'm from Jamaica, but I'm asking for money for this Jewish organization, like, we'd love for you to come back, love having you the next time. That was me on the phone. I was in the IT lab, lifting up computers, doing database entry, and then I helped them lead tours and plan events as well too. So that was, I saved 2 paychecks and I went all into photography, right? Because it felt right. My cousin taught me Photoshop in 2012, back when we used to borrow stuff using this dope site called Pirate Bay, where you could get pirated software for free, great website. And he taught me Photoshop CS6 and it changed my life. At the time, while I was still in Jamaica and the phones weren't as good, we used to go around trolling people, like we take funny pictures and then memeify before meme culture really became a thing. So when I got into high school here, I had a great portfolio of sunflowers, random people in the street, cats and dogs, and my siblings. So I go up to my dean at high school and I put on this nice jacket that I got from Macy's, 40-cent shades from eBay, $1.18 watch, and I go to my dean with this portfolio on a tablet, wasn't even an iPad, just a tablet, right? And I go into her table, I put the tablet on the desk, I'm like, Rennis, I want to be the school photographer. And of course she laughed at me. She didn't take it seriously then, but a week after that, she said, hey, Jordi, come shoot the basketball games. And that was how I got into photographing people. This was 2014, 2 years before I met Yenny. Shortly after that, I was like, yo, like, this is pretty cool. So my cousin, in the fall, he's having his 25th surprise birthday party. my aunt sees that I'm doing photography, and she's now saying like, hey, Jordi, you're gonna take pictures. I'm like, all right, great. You know, I'm in there. I had a Altura flash, $50 flash. It had no fancy screens. It just had bars that goes from like the Wi-Fi signal on your phone from like small to large. So you'd like turn up the power by just hitting plus or minus. It was good, easy days back then, you know? And the reason I got it though was because the pop-up flash on my camera stopped working. The only time the flash worked was in the sunlight, which makes no sense, right? So I got the flash to compensate for that. So at the time, I think it was alignment because I got to now practice at my cousin's surprise birthday party, and that was my first official event. And this guy right here, his name is Denzel. The reason he's here was because after doing the pictures, everybody loved it. I uploaded it to my Facebook page. They were like, yo, Jordi, this is good. I'm like, yeah. So he was a part of a DJ group, and it's called Set Sound. And I said to Denzel, hey, look, I really love this photography thing, and I just want to come take pictures. Next time, like a week later, he invites me to a baby shower, and I was speaking to my father about me wanting to do photography, and then he said, you know, Jordi, he's an old Jamaican guy. He's like, you know, Jordi, make sure you stay 20 minutes more at the event, more than you have to. I'm like, all right, cool, right? So I go to the event, and for some spark of intuition, because I had no formal business training, I go up to the host of the event, and I say to them, hey, my name is Jordi, and I'm here to take pictures for free, you know, but I want to pretend like I'm working. And so can I have your contact information, right? Like they gave me the name, number, email, right? Like it's easy that people give you the information once you're giving them something, right? So I emailed them the pictures, like at this time, I was not using Lightroom. So imagine taking 200 pictures at an event and opening each picture one by one in Photoshop to do like a few brightness adjustments, saving that, and then doing that one by one by one. No batch processing, right? I did not know better. Now, following that, family friends, Corey right there, I've been doing his Labor Day parties for the last 9 years now. You know, the only thing that stopped us was the pandemic. And he was one of those early clients that I would leave from college, I would come back down to Brooklyn, and I'd come photograph his backyard party. And he never hesitated, like he fed me, he paid me, he got me drunk, and I got to take good pictures. You know, like that was it. Let me get the next slide, Yenny, right? So these three Jordis right here, this is the Jordi in 2014 that got that first camera exploring, right? Jordi number 2 with the braces right there, you know, if I show you guys my pictures of what my teeth look like before, you'd be like, you know, it was crazy. But this Jordi here, I was a very distracted person in school, you know. I was a computer science major, so that is my background. So I'm really decent with like thinking about stuff like A, B, C, D, you know, like step by step, you know? And I would be in class, my professor's like, you know, everybody, so we're gonna do this algorithm, and you know what people get confused about computer science sometimes, it's not about IT, everybody, it's about information processes and systems. Meanwhile, I'm in the class in the front on F-Stoppers magazine looking up the latest camera announcement, right? I'm on Photoshop, I'm editing pictures from a shoot that I did the day before, because I would like try to work with students around and everything, trying to like get them, I just wanted to take pictures, you know? So that when I first got to college, what I did in 2014, I purchased a red camera, right? As you know, red is the strongest color on the color spectrum. So for 2 years, I walked around with that red camera to every office building. And I had this little thing that I did where any holidays would come around, I would get candy, right? I don't eat candy, but I give it away, right? Trick or treat. So I get the candy, and I would go to like all the like my program administrators, program directors and everything like that. I'm like, yo, Anna, what's up? I'll come in and I would literally just sit in the office. Like she talked to somebody, I would just come like talk, right? Like to me, respect is earned, you know? So I would just come in, sit, and have a regular conversation. And if you respect me, I respect you. It's a real simple philosophy, right? But what I would do, she had this jar of candy. So I would put the candy in the jar. I'm like, hey, Anna, I got you with the re-up, you know, like, here you go. Talk to you later. And then I would do that at the LGBTQ center. I would go to the multicultural office center, and I would just give them candy, checking on them, like give them cards and everything like that. That program director, I'm still really great friends with her. And every year, at least twice a year, I will do like headshots and stuff with her research students. So let me get the next slide, right? The reason I bring up these stories is because we are in the business of people, right? And it's people that allow us to pursue our passions. And once you understand that, you will treat everybody that you come across with respect. You know, a lot of the times it's easy for us to get misunderstood or misread. Your intentions get misaligned and people form an opinion of you. But I think once you're good within yourself and you know that what you're doing comes from a good place, people can feel that. And I think Anthony brought up a really great point about energy. You know, like it's really about energy and forming good connections, because what you put down is ultimately what you reap in the end. So that program administrator or program director, she's the executive director of the program, she helped me make my first set of upgraded business cards. And an interesting thing happened. She booked me while I was still at school to do headshots. And this was the mind-changing moment for me. I did headshots for 30 kids in about 30 minutes, and they paid me $850. At that time, my first photo shoot for an hour was $35. So when she did that, I'm like, wait, I could make $850 in 30 minutes? My mind started to like think now. I'm like, wait, I've been doing this wrong, right? I'm like, wait, I'm not charging enough, but it didn't register in my actions at the time that it was possible, because I didn't know what I was really selling. I didn't really know who I was selling to. I didn't really know, I was still exploring. You know, I think in order for you to know what you want, and you know, like, yes, like I'm gonna get to the business stuff soon, but this is a part of the business, I promise, right? A big part of business is relationships. And in order to do business, you have to have, like, the reason I'm here is because I met Yenny, 7 years ago. 7 years ago, right? Like, that's why I'm here right now, because of good relationship. And then this program, the $1 Million Photographer, Yenny has been in that program with me too. She's helped me with the outreach. I come back here, I help her by contributing my time to the class. It's all that kind of give and take. So after that, I was like, wow, like $850 for 30 minutes, mind blown. I took that energy and I followed the feeling for years, right? So I did fashion photography back with Yenny in 2016. Event photography was my base, like really how I got started. So think of your baby showers, your newborn photo, like kids parties, dance hall parties too, because I'm Jamaican as well too. Like that's really where I got my feet wet with like lighting, action, framing, composition, and all of that. But I also spent an obnoxious amount of time studying YouTube videos that would teach photography basics. I've paid for a lot of courses and classes. I have shadowed a lot of people. I have gotten a lot of no's. I have gotten a few yeses that have changed my life. And all of those things is that I just kept going, right? A lot of photographers that I've admired, what I would do in those days, I would sit on Instagram and I'll go through my feed. And the photographers that I follow, I'm like, hey, I love your work. Is it possible that I could come out on set to assist you? No. All right, great. Hey, I love your work. Can I come assist you? No. Great. Hey, I love your work. Can I come assist you? Yes, yes, right? That's literally how it happens, right? And sometimes the no's could get discouraging because it's like, damn, am I not good enough? Do they not see my work? Am I not saying it right? But I think sometimes all it really takes is a few yeses to overshadow all of those wins. Because if you think about it, right? Anybody familiar with baseball? Right? Like in baseball, the batters, they miss most of the strikes. But batters that have like a 300 batting average, you're getting paid millions of dollars. That means that you get like 3 out of every couple of pitches, right? Like you're like Hall of Fame level if you have a 300 batting average, right? So you don't need to hit all the shots. You just need the few. And even like a home run in baseball is like only 4 points. But in business, a home run could change your life, you know? And those few home runs were the things that really got me to even be here talking to you guys right now. So moving on from that, NYU is still one of my regular clients. And here's the interesting thing, right? The first time they pay me $850, I'm like, I wonder if they could pay me more, right? It's a private school. Per person is $77,000. And that's a lot of money. So a few years fast forward, I'm talking to the dean again. I'm like, all right, man, I'm kind of nervous about this. So I'm talking to my now assistant. I'm like, hey, they reached back out to me. They have like 27, 30 students. And I was like, how much should we charge? She said 5,000. I'm like, all right, great, I put 5,000. I called 2 of my friends. I'm like, hey, how much would you charge? 2,000? Okay, how much would you charge? 4,000? I'm like, okay, I'll charge 5, right? I send it, and the person that got the proposal over me, they charge $4,400. And I know this because the same program executive director, she told me. Because we cool, like, you know, that's insider information. But, you know, like, she was like, hey, Jordi, next time I'm going to send you the proposal, and then you will, you know, like, you could do your thing, and we'll figure it out that way, right? After that, I've been led down to give and work with people. So a lot of the times on my Instagram, I spend giving back in the form of like, I try to answer as many DMs as possible. I respond to all my comments, and I make posts. I'm really just trying to get photographers who are in the very early stages up and running with very practical things that are easy to implement, right? That is the whole theme of my Instagram. And the reason for that is because I wish I had a me. And I think that when I met my mentor in 2020, by accident, because it was at the height of the pandemic, I had just done my first lighting workshop with a friend of mine, and we went to Essence Fashion House. So my friend, he was just learning videography, and what we did, we would tag team people. So he would do the video and I would stop them, right? So if we saw like a group of good looking people coming by, I would be like, wow, hey, how you doing today, right? Catch them off and like, whoa, right? I'm like, whoa, yeah, right? And then it's like, hey, my name is Jordi, but the reason I'm stopping you is because of my friend here. He would do a video with them, we would talk, and that's how I met my mentor. He reached out to me, let's go to the next slide. He reached out to, I spoke to him, and then I think 3 days after, he invited me to his studio. So I'm showing him my portfolio that I'm really feeling good about, and he scrolls through my work, and he's like, yo, this is trash. This is trash. I'm like, we just met. Like, can we like get to know each other first before you tell me like this is trash? But when we actually got to the conversation, what he was saying to me was that there was no story in my work. And at the time, like there's this thing I do. Anytime I'm on set, I try to either have a tripod up or somebody film me, right? The reason is I try to look back and look at what I was doing. When I went back to the footage of that particular photo shoot, I was literally sitting in the chair right here for the entire 2 hours. So the shots that I created, they were very static. They didn't have any story to it. They didn't have any angles that made it dynamic. They didn't really capture the essence of who I was photographing. And that changed my life because by that time, I had practiced my lighting, my composition was good. I had a decent amount of clientele, and things were like going pretty well. But moving on from that, now some of these photos, I'll explain to you what they are, but there's something interesting that happened in the middle of the pandemic. I was out of business, and one of my friends came up to me and said, Jordi, we should open a photography studio. I'm like, I only have $1,000 left in credit. My savings are burning through month over month. I'm still paying money in a car. I'm still declining. My mentor said to me, because I was like, hey, look, man, I'm about to go back to Uber Eats. I need money. You know, I had like 2-3 clients during the pandemic. And he said to me, like, Jordi, photography is your skill. You need to figure it out. And again, it opened my eyes. Because you see the eyes, the interesting thing about the eyes, right? There's a difference between sight and vision. Sight is just what you see, but vision is what you believe. And I didn't believe that the opportunity existed, so I couldn't see it with my actual sight. But when he said photography is just, I was with my mentor. He was shooting right throughout the pandemic. Clearly something is happening, but I couldn't see it. My friend that asked me to open a studio, that I didn't do it because I was scared, his business was booming right throughout the pandemic, but I couldn't see the opportunity because I didn't believe. The first requisite of being a good business owner is 1, you have to believe. 2, you have to assess if there is a need for your product or service. And I can tell you right this very moment that there is a need for what we do. The advertising industry is trillions of dollars annually. That means that money's being spent somewhere and we just have to find it. So once you know the market exists, 2, once you know the opportunity exists, and 3, once you believe, anything is possible, right? But first you really have to really calibrate those 3 things, because then now every type of photography might not be I can't be a landscape photography in New York, right? Like, I'm not gonna make any money. But if you look at the amount of small businesses that are made in New York every single day, it might make more sense for you to figure out how you could do portrait photography in the context of helping a business make more revenue, right? So this picture right here, the one on the top right, I'll start from there. This mixes in my love for fashion, but this is e-commerce. And I did this photo shoot last week. And this guy, I do his pictures for his catalog every quarter. So even though, like, this is more of a standard e-commerce photo, but I think each of us, see, the thing is style, right? All pictures are the same, but style matters. So my style is, I like pictures that capture a story. So for this picture, the background is really not a background that you'd see on your typical e-commerce website. But whenever I'm speaking to my clients, I'm like, hey, look, you could be like them or you could be like you. Which one do you prefer to be, right? Most people are going to say they prefer to be like them. So I'm like, all right, so tell me what you like. Oh, you know, I like bold colors. Oh, you know, I like abstract backgrounds. I'm like, okay, let's do that, because that's you. You know, last night I was at this gala, right? And they hired like 3-4 photographers there, right? Like, one photographer controlled the stage, one photographer controlled the like general room. I was in charge of capturing the facial reactions and the executive director, and the other one was just in charge of like just capturing the decor and what we missed, right? All of us do photography, but out of all of them, the only thing that made me different was that I just talk more. Was that I was willing to take a picture of somebody and like hey, my name is Jordi Foster, boom, firm handshake, shake their hand. And then I would say, yo, man, I love the suit, my brother. Like, you looking sharp. Hey, look, like, make sure I get a picture of you after you get me the drink. You know, I'll say something like that, right? Or I'll probably say, hey, miss, like, I saw you all the way from over there across the room, man. Man, I just gotta say, you so beautiful, I can't even take a picture of you, right? Like, I would just say little things like that, you know? And that's my personality. You know, like all the pictures are technically gonna be the same, but that's what makes me me, right? And that's the thing that gets me into the room, which is that personality, you know? So moving on from that, this is another e-commerce shoot right here that I did for a brand called Main Transformations, and they're in the process of rebranding. So she's also a Transformers fan. So each of her wigs have pretty cool names. So for the release for Transformers that's coming out on June 7th, we're designing a video shoot with like 3 models, and we're gonna dress them in like robotic bodysuits. And they're gonna have colored wigs and then like colored accessories. And that gets to be a fun shoot. But the reason she has the brand is because she got a call from her doctor and was like, hey, look, the test results are in and you're gonna start experiencing hair loss due to alopecia. So she shaves off all her hair, puts it in a Ziploc bag, and was like, damn, that's how she started designing wigs. So the product is the same, but the story is unique to her. And that's the only, if you understand that concept, that everything that we do is the same, but the way how you do it is what makes it unique, you will make so much money, right? Then now this is a graduation photo shoot, and this photo right up there is a model campaign that I did with a colleague that I'm called the We're All Models campaign. And the purpose of that story, Necker was there. Necker took the photo of us there that day, which I'm truly, truly grateful for. But the whole purpose of this campaign, there are times where I invest like maybe 20% of my time in doing work that gives back. So there's a lot of photographers, new photographers that enter the market, and there's a new of anything else that enters the market. So if you have 3 years of experience, there's somebody that has 1 year of experience, right? And they're willing to learn from you, right? Does that make sense? All right. So we did this campaign because there's a lot of new models that are coming into the space. And my friend right there, she is a published and commercial model. So she does a lot of commercial, like Ashley Stewart, she frequently does their e-commerce portfolio. We had a pitch that we worked on for Sports Illustrated as well too. And then there's a few other brands that she works with from time to time. So I was like, hey, look, you teach them the model stuff and I'll just help you organize it, because one of my key skills is planning. So going back to the things that make you unique, I come from a background, if anybody needs a personal assistant, I'm a great note taker, right? Like if we were in a class and we're talking, you'll be like, damn, Jordi, you took that? And I'm like, yep. So you better watch what you say, because I'm gonna take like notes, and then I love my bullet points, the formatting, the headings, the bold, the underline, the tables with the colors. I just love that stuff. So what I do, going back to what makes you unique, I bring that to my clients. So if my clients have ideas while they're talking to me on the phone, I am typing away. And that is one of the unique skills that I bring to the table, right? So your unique skill is what makes you unique. So now these are a few more pieces of work that I create. So I try to balance my business with creativity, right? And I think as artists, that is the only way for us to really maintain everything, right? So this project right here is a good editorial photo shoot I did with a friend, Coy, in the studio, and she recently got signed to an agency. So I hadn't worked with her in like 6-7 months. So when I worked with her again, also, I did a lot of free shoots. Like during 2018, if I had 5 photo shoots in a week, 3 of them would be free, one of them would be paid, and the other one was up in the air, 50-50, right? And I did that for months. Like when I started getting more business, I actually started doing a lot more free work on top of that, because the free work, like Anthony was saying, is how you market your skills, right? So that's why I do stuff like this, that, and that. The one in the middle is with a little bit of what we do. So we created this project. We actually built the project centered around the hair because she's a hairstylist, and then the fashion fit in after. So the first part in the series, I'll share it with you guys after if you want, is called Rooted in Reverence, Crowned in Culture. And then this is part 2 in the series that we call From Renaissance to Royalty, right? And Renaissance to Royalty, that symbolizes the transcendence of like the realization of like how we could mix fashion into contemporary art. Then the third piece right here is a project inspired by the Studio 54 disco scene. So the stylist on this project, Kareen, she forced all of us to watch the Studio 54 documentary. She's like, guys, I want to do a project on this, so y'all are gonna watch this documentary. And we watched the documentary, and then after that, we had a conversation about how we wanted to represent it. So we shot this at the TWA Hotel, which is a really great hotel. It's a public hotel, and they have a lot of like vintage 1970s, 1980s props and stuff. There's an airplane outside that you could take pictures by too. It's literally right by JFK, open to the public that you could shoot at. But if you notice here, right, the details in the nails, the details in the background and the hair, the ring, the earring, all of those pieces were very carefully planned. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't have all the ideas in the world, so I like to lean on people. Now, how many of you have been doing photography for at least a year? Let me see the hands. Okay, okay, right? In anything that you do, the best way to collaborate with somebody is to have something to give first. So a lot of the times people have approached me to do collaborations, but they want me to come up with all the ideas. That's the easiest way for me to say no, right? If you want to get something out of somebody, you have to give first, right? A lot of us start with asking because we want something for ourselves, but we don't give anything of value up front first to actually start off the relationship on a good front. So whenever I'm collaborating with somebody, the very first thing that I do is I take a survey of what their work looks like. Okay, they like this, I like this, and then I'm like, hey, look, here's 3 things that I like that I thought you might like too. Would you like to work on any of these? Your ideas are not special. Any idea that you have is on Pinterest and Google, somebody thought of. Like there's 20 people that thought about Uber too, but they didn't execute it, right? There's a million people that thought about Amazon and drop shipping and all that stuff, but they didn't do it. Your ideas are not as unique as you think. All of us are human beings, we share experiences, and we have similar ideas that are interpreted through our unique experiences. The only thing that's different, again, is your style. Your style is what makes your experience unique. All of us experience heartbreak, pain, death, loss of love, loss of money, loss of a loved one, stress, depression. All of us experience that because that's the human experience that we all share. The only thing that's different is your unique experience. Again, your style, right? So let me go to the next part, right? Now, a lot of what I do, so I specialize in commercial photography. But here's the thing. I don't like to produce your typical commercial, right? I like to infuse it with a bit of storytelling, a bit of how can we make this relevant for whoever we're trying to get this message out to. And then that results in pictures like this. So Here by Susie is very, very good client and friend of mine. She's a Nigerian hairstylist. She does avant-garde hair, and I've been working with her for years. This relationship started again by me offering something up for free, right? Like I did, man, I'm trying to remember what it is that I did with her for free. It was a bunch of stuff. Like the very first time she wanted to book me to do some headshots, I said to her, I don't need your money. I prefer to create something with you, and then maybe down the line, if something comes in, like then you could pay me, but I prefer to create art with you, right? Because you have to I think as artists, entrepreneurs, creatives, whatever you want to call yourself, decisions are the most important things that we could do, right? So maybe that was the right decision at the time. Maybe it was the wrong decision at the time, depending on where you are in your life. For me, the decision made sense because I was able to create a relationship And I think relationships, again, relationship and style, those are the two most important things. So if I had taken the money up front, I would have ran the risk of not being able to create a relationship because then the money would have come out, right? But you fast forward 2 years later, I get booked to do her commercial for the launch of her edge control. And then she texts me yesterday while I'm at the gala, hey, I have some new hair samples coming out and I'd love for you to shoot them. And then when it's time for us to create some really cool hair stuff, because she's really like dope with the hair, and she actually got featured in the Met. She had a piece that was featured there, and she paid me to come there for like 30 minutes to hang out with her and take pictures. So I made money while hanging out with her at the same time. Now, had I taken that money up front a few years later, I don't think those opportunities would have existed. And that's how I try to live my life. Second one here is a commercial for eyewear brand. As you can see, we're focused. You see, so each of these pictures are ultimately the same, but the focus is different, right? So this one is clearly about edge control. You can see the nice edges, the nice hair. And this one, it's still a portrait, but the focus in terms of the composition, let me get up here, right? If you notice what I did right here with the lines, I try to enclose the subject, like these are railings, and I just try to enclose the subject in the lines, but then now also have the focus in the center of the frame on the glasses, right? That's the leading lines technique, right? One of my favorite compositional techniques, right? And then now you have the three models here. Standard hair shoot, but I just wanted it to look a little bit different. So this idea, I'll actually give credit to the brand owner herself because she actually wanted that. But it was interesting to me that that was how she wanted to present her work, because same wig, different style, right? Let's go to the next one, Yenny, right? And then now these are like three other types of work, so every now and again I spice it up a little bit. Like this is like just for fun because I'm not a boudoir photographer. It's fun, but it's not really my wheelhouse, But second one here is candle shoot for a brand. We did a staging of a home. So I work with a lot of realtors, and one of the cool projects we do sometimes is that we like stage a home, and this gives us an opportunity to partner with like different brands. So like we might partner with like a dishware brand, we might partner with a candle brand. And what we did for this project was that we showed how the house would look seasonally. So we did a decoration set for fall, we did a decoration set for spring, and then same candles, different style, right? And then this clip here of this model, she works with this agency called I Am Next Models, and she volunteered to help me film my outdoor lighting workshop. So during the summertime, I have a golden hour lighting workshop that I do, where I bring photographers together and I show them how to create beautiful golden hour sunsets. It's like one of my favorite types of shots, right? I think the most consistent thing throughout my journey in the last 9 years has been that I've never stopped. I've never taken a break. I've never used not having clients as an excuse to not shoot. And I think there's two types of people in the world. People that every decision that you make is a decision that you will ultimately pay some price for. So when you are not doing anything, you are making a decision not to do. You have to be very clear about that. Procrastination is the opposite of decision because you're deciding not to do, right? Does that concept make sense, right? So I've never taken a break from photography. Now, I do take breaks, but on the grand scheme of things, I have never decided to say, man, like I'm sad right now, I'm not about to like take pictures. In my mind, and I speak for myself when I say this, it doesn't make sense. I will be sad because there's a point where I was going through some hardships and I was at fear of losing my green card. I still took pictures. I was in the middle of, in the pandemic, having to find housing, and I didn't have any money, and I still took pictures. When I wasn't making any money during the pandemic, and I was still kind of like fiddling what my next move would be, I still took pictures. And I think that we owe it to ourselves if we really believe, going back to the belief, if one, you believe, and it's a fact, that the advertising industry is trillions of dollars. Two, you believe that there's an opportunity in the marketplace. You owe it to yourself to give yourself a chance. So since 2014, I told myself that I was going to give myself a decade to figure out the photography business. So you can imagine how drastically less stressed I am than most people. When I'm not making any money 3 years in, I'm like, man, I got 7 years left. 4 years in, I'm like, all right, it's kind of picking up, man, but I got 6 years left. 5 years, stuff is kind of picking up, not as much as I want to sustain a full life, but I have 5 years left. And I think we have to give ourselves more reasonable time frame so that we can exercise pay. We give people more grace than we give ourselves a lot of the times. And I think that we need to treat ourselves like we're somebody worth being taken care of. Yep. Thank you, everybody. Yeah.